Hello and welcome to Motors for the Masses, and today we have a lot of new exciting bikes coming in 2026, so let's roll the intro and get cracking. So first up, we have a brand that you may have forgotten about, but it's back with a vengeance, and that is MASH. Now, I have a MASH myself, the MASH Force 400, and in the description below you'll see links to the videos I've done on that bike. Fantastic looking army bike based on a Honda 500, down-tuned to a 400cc engine. But yes, have a look at that. But yes, MASH is back, but not with what you expect. So it seems the French manufacturer is back with two different styles of bike, a touring bike and a sports bike. We've got the 2026 MASH K750, a lovely looking sports bike there. I like that red and white design with a red star on it, but we'll have a look at more details on that in a second. But also they've got this, the GT750, a touring bike based very much on a Honda Pan-European by the looks of it. Using a 730cc parallel twin engine, it produces just under 75 horsepower and 51 pounds-foot of torque. You of course get the usual stuff, the TFT screen with the smartphone connectivity, keyless start, USB ports, decent spec, but we don't know all the spec at the moment. However, it will be using things like Brembo brakes, it's got a 14-litre fuel tank, and it's only 206 kilos. That's not bad for a 750. I think this is something to rival Zontis with their new 703RR and the likes of Triumph with their Street Triple, as well as Aprilia with their RS, Yamaha with their R7 perhaps. Now I know, again, this will set tongues a-wagging with the likes of, it's a Chinese brand, blah, 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 don't want it, not interested. That conversation needs to end. I understand when it comes down to the Chinese manufactured bikes, it's not to do with the build of the bike or the quality of the bike. It's to do with the parts backup and the manufacturer's backup. That is the only thing I'm a bit concerned about. MASH were doing great, sold through 3 Cross Motorcycles before they disappeared probably 4 years ago now. So MASH sort of moved to Motomondo, but there's information on Motomondo coming soon, so stay tuned for that one. But I don't know what the backup is like with MASH at the moment. I've been out of the game for a couple of years on the dealer side of it. I don't know how many MASH dealers there are at the moment. Not a huge amount of MASH dealers left, simply because the bikes haven't been coming through. This, I don't know if it's going to restart MASH in the UK, but it's something to look out for. But it's not just that sports bike, as I say, it's also a touring bike. Have a look at this. Now this looks like it will definitely rival the likes of the Honda Pan-European, although I have to say, those crash bars on the side look a bit weird on a touring bike like this. They just look like they're an afterthought stuck on the side. Now you have got the same specs engine-wise as the K750. However, this one does have a 24-litre fuel tank and it is going to be 275 kilos. That is very heavy. Now you have also got Brembo brakes, upside down forks, but they're only 41mm. That feels a bit sort of small for such a large and heavy bike. And apparently it is going to be available for A2 riders, as is the K750 as well. So there will be a restricted version. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments section below. But I think they look fantastic. I think they will perform adequately well. I am a little bit concerned about the thin front suspension on that heavy touring bike, but you know, that may just be me. That's going to be priced at £10,999. Now that sounds quite expensive. It's not for the type of bike you get, but considering it's a MASH and they're going to be popping it alongside the likes of the 12 grand Kawasaki's and Honda and their expensive machine, so yeah, fair enough. But other than that, it's not a cheap price, but it's not the most expensive either. But it just seems though the main issue is backup and reliability of the importer. Unfortunately, they haven't had a great track record with importers and bike supply. They are a good product, and I've done lots of MASH reviews in my time, and I do not have a problem with any of them. I think they're fantastic bikes. They ride well, they're built well, and they go as expected for a bike. But there's just that little bit of issue that I'm a bit concerned about. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section below. Which brings me neatly onto that news regarding Motomondo, as I said earlier. Now, unfortunately, it seems at the end of 2025, Motomondo are no longer going to be the importer for Moto Morini. Now, the Escape 650, fantastic bike. I've sold many in my time. I've done various reviews on them, and I think it's a brilliant bike. They've got the Escape 700 just come out, and they're talking about the Escape 1200, which has been around for a while and still hasn't materialized. Well, it seems that we don't know who at the moment is going to be bringing in the new Moto Morinis. Not just in the UK either, that's Europe. I think it's already been shut down in the French network. So who knows? But yeah, that's a watch this space scenario at the moment. Unfortunately, that again puts the question on the reliability of dealership backup for Moto Morini. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. It's not a good thing, and it's not going to help the brand one little bit. But yeah, that's a shame, because I do rate Moto Morini, and I've been trying to get hold of the people at Motomondo regarding this. Now, I wonder if that's why I'm getting very little communication from them, because I was getting communication and they were talking about going around and talking about promoting the bike and whatnot. And we're hopefully sorting out a bike for review, and then silence for quite a while now. I wonder if this is why, because they know after the end of this year they're not going to be dealing with it anymore. So there you go. That's it for Moto Morini in the UK and Europe. That's a massive market. Now, I remember a long time ago I was going to do a 7-country tour right before lockdown. We were arranging a 7-country tour on 3 Moto Morini Escape 650s. That never materialised, unfortunately, because lockdown happened, and then I shut the business down, and Malcolm went one way and Jamie went a different way, and I stayed here. So yeah, unfortunately that didn't happen, and yeah, that's a big market, because we had backup supply arranged for those 7 different countries around Europe, and if they are pulling out of Europe, that's a massive market. We're talking about Germany, Austria, France, Italy. Now, I know it's an Italian brand that's been, taken over by the Chinese, but that's a big European market, and as well, of course, the UK. So yeah, it's sad, but there you go. So what's next? Well, it's Honda. Now, as you know, I was talking recently about the new CB1000F retro looking bike that's going to be coming out. Well, they're also talking about a new GT model based on the same tech as is in the CB1000F. They've got a GT model. So the engine's going to be the same, and the brakes and the setup's going to be the same, but the suspension is going to be different, it seems. Obviously, it's going to have a longer stroke and higher ground clearance, etc., because it's a GT model. So maybe more of a touring bike with the ability to have a passenger on the back, which the CB1000F you could as well, but it's not really a touring style bike, is it, in modern terms? So yes, the GT. Not much else is said about it at the moment, but there we go. This is a bike that's looking to come next year, so let's stay tuned for more information on this one. So next up, Kawasaki with their KLE 500, A2 friendly bike, 16-litre fuel tank. It's got sort of that mini Tenere feel to it. I think this is going to be a big seller for Kawasaki, bringing back that KLE name. I just think it's going to be something that anyone who wants to get into dual sport with a little bit of light off-roading, but they don't want anything bigger, they can start with this 500, and I think that's going to be a fantastic bike. I really do think people are going to jump on this one, quite literally. It screams off-roader with a 21-inch front wheel, a 17-inch back wheel, and a range of different seat heights, the standard one being 860 millimeters. That's quite tall. So they're going to have to bring out lower ones for normal-sized people. 860 is quite a lot, isn't it? And there's going to be lots of upgrades like the fog lights and the aquapovic exhaust and a bigger sump guard. It does come with a sump guard, but a bigger sump guard for those for the serious off-roading. And of course all the modern features like Bluetooth connectivity and sat-nav via your phone and all that lot of nonsense. Which brings me finally on to Triumph, and they've released a new Triumph Trident with an 800cc engine. Now this is going to be about £9,300, something like that. Not a bad price, and I think it's going to be a big seller. It's got that very familiar naked look, but it's also going to be slightly cheaper than Yamaha's MT-09, but on par with the likes of Kawasaki in their Z900. It's supposed to have 113 brake horsepower and 62 pounds-foot of torque, so it's not a sluggish bike. And weight is going to be around about 195 kilos, which is only 6 or 7 kilos more than the 660. That's quite well done. Now you might ask yourself, why do we have the 800 when we've already got the 765 Street Triple? Well, it is a slightly different bike. You've got that more retro look to it over the little bit more modern looking Street Triple. So there is that. But also, why not? If there's a gap, fill it with this. The 660 was a nice bike, but a little bit underpowered, which is why I think they went with the Street Triple from the 675 to the 765, and I think this leap from 660 to 800 will be what people are looking for in a more street bike focused upper mid-range CC, shall we say. I think it'll sell quite well. What do you think? Let me know. And that's all I've got for this episode. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share this video. Click the notification bell for more uploads, and I'll be back very soon for more. Don't forget you've got EICMA coming up. Unfortunately, I'm not going to get to EICMA this year. I've never been and I want to go. I just can't go this year. But I will be going to Motorcycle Live, so stay tuned for those videos. So I'll see you next time. Until then, please ride and drive carefully, but have fun. Bye-bye.